Hey everybody, welcome to Tech with Brett, where I help tech work for you.
And here is the new Nest Doorbell, the snow version. And down here at the bottom, you will see it says battery. Now, even though it says battery, it also works wired as well. Over here on the side, we have 24/7 live view in HDR. You can see what's happening even in the dark with night vision. You have phone alerts for packages and people, and it has HD talk and listen. And down here at the bottom, it is compatible with Google Assistant, so you're able to view this on your Google smart displays. And then over here on the side, there is what's included in the box and a bunch of other specifications and requirements that we'll hopefully cover. I want to give a big thank you to Google for sending this over for this review. So let's go ahead and see what's in the box. And there is the new Nest Doorbell. Now this is much bigger than the previous model and generation that they have because they needed to add that battery inside. So there you have your camera, you have the light, a little G logo, and then there is where you would press the doorbell right there. On the back, you do have the wired options, so you can easily wire your existing chime there. And then here you have USB-C so that you can charge up the Nest Doorbell. It could take about 5 hours to charge, and the battery life will depend on your usage. So here we have a QR code to get this set up. We're going to plug it into an outlet, get the Google Home app, and then we're going to scan the QR code below. And here it does give you a warning that if you're taking this off to charge, make sure you keep the lens clean as it might be prone to scratches. And here it comes with a little Nest camera microphone letting people know that they're being monitored and so on. And then here you do get a USB-C cable. It does come with the wall mount, and then it also comes with an angle bracket in case you want to angle it a different direction than the standard angle. And then if you have an uneven surface, you can use these to even it out. And then it comes with the security key to remove it. You have these anchor screws, the anchors, and then here, if you're going to wire it, you do have the option to add these to make it a little easier to be wired. Now, the only two reasons you would want to wire this is to work with your existing chime and to never have to charge it again. If you wire it into an existing doorbell, you won't have to do that. If not, you will just have to pull this off and recharge it when you want to, and use Google Assistant speakers to receive notifications. And just if you're curious on the size, here is the previous Nest Hello, which is now called Nest Doorbell Wired, versus the new Nest Doorbell.
Now the main difference is the new Nest Doorbell only works in the Google Home app. It has a battery and it does not support full 24/7 video history like you saw on the previous Nest Doorbell Wired.
Let's go ahead, plug it in and get it set up. Now, different from the Nest Hello doorbell, this does not use the Nest app. This will all be done in the Google Home app. So we're gonna open this up, and we've already signed in with my account. Here you can see it up here. And then we're going to select plus, and we're going to set up a device, and we're gonna add a new device. Here we're gonna choose our home, and now we're going to choose doorbell, and we have the Nest Doorbell battery. And now we need to scan that QR code. Okay, so first here it's talking about usage guidelines. So between -4 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 degrees Fahrenheit, or -20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius.
But what happens if I'm stolen off the door? Great question. We'll get to that in a bit.
So this is good information to know if you're going to wire this into your home. You do need to make sure you have a transformer. All right, plug in your doorbell. We did that. So here you can use the USB-C it came with. And here we're going to place this in the front porch. And now we're downloading an update. All right, the update finished, and now it's asking, how are we going to power this? The USB-C cable is only to charge it up, so you can use it on battery. If you are going to wire it, it needs to be connected to a 8 to 24 VAC transformer. So we're going to just set this up under battery first. And now it's going to run us through how to get this installed.
Now, if you do have an existing doorbell, make sure you turn off the power, remove that, and then here I'm using some electrical tape to tape up the wires, and then turn back on the power, and I'm ready to get this installed. Google does recommend installing this at 4 feet high, but I'm just going to use where the previous doorbell was. Now, the first decision you need to make is if you're going to include the 20-degree wedge or not. So here is what it looks like without using the wedge. My doorbell is about 12 to 18 inches away from the door frame. You can see that I'm missing about half of the porch. And then once I put the 20-degree wedge on there, you can see much more of my porch, especially my door mat. So we're gonna stick with this. Also make sure you have enough space above the doorbell so that you can use the key to remove it to charge it up. Now we're going to screw on the base plate and we are ready to put on the Nest Doorbell. So all you need to do is place the bottom circle on, and then you kind of press down on the top to snap it into place. Once installed, the live feed from the doorbell will pop up and you can see if you need to add the wedge or not. Then it's going to ask if you want to turn on video recording. Now this does come with 3 hours of free event video recording. Next, it's going to ask if you want to turn on the microphone and the audio recording so that you have a history of that on the events. Here it's asking if we want to turn on visitor announcements so that we'll be notified on our Google Assistant speakers when someone is at the door. Next, we're going to choose our language. And then we can turn on familiar face detection if you pay for Nest Aware, which I do. And this allows me to tag faces so that I can get a notification on my phone of who's at the door, or Google will announce on my speakers. And now our Google Nest Doorbell is all set up. So let's go ahead and check out how much it's charged and then get it plugged on. Plugged in.
So here under the front porch doorbell, you can see that it currently is at 77%. And it will take another hour and 40 minutes until it's charged. Up here you can also see the percentage, and here we can see that the device is currently set to off. So here's live, so once I unplug it, then we'll be able to view the doorbell. So I'm going to charge this up, get it installed, and then we'll go from there.
When you want to remove the Nest Doorbell, just use the security key at the top and press down, and then pull off the Nest Doorbell to charge it back up. Now let's go ahead and show you how to install this if you are going to use a wired connection. First, you need to turn off the power. Then here, I'm going to pull out the wires that I placed in there before. Then I'm going to use the wire connectors to connect to the Nest Doorbell. Then I'm going to pinch the other end and they will slide right onto the wires. It doesn't matter which one goes on which. Then I'm going to snap back on the Nest Doorbell. Now the most difficult part is getting the wires out of the way. Thankfully the angle mount does add some room, so I just worked with the wires for a bit until I was able to get it to snap on. Before we turn on the power, I want to check my existing chime. Now previously I had the Ring doorbell here and I did need a jumper cable, so I need to make sure I remove that jumper cable, and if you were using the Nest Doorbell wired, you might have a chime connector that needs to be removed. So this is what the wiring looks like on the chime. And just to double check everything is wired correctly, here in my furnace, this is the transformer. We can see that it is wired properly. So now I'm ready to turn on the power and test it out. One of the first things I noticed about being wired is when you open the app, it automatically pops up the feed. You don't have to click live to be able to view the live feed. So now that we have it wired, if we go in here to the settings under doorbell, we now have the option to turn on the Ring indoor chime, which we didn't have that option before. And if you do have an electronic chime, down here you can choose the duration of that chime. Now heading back, you can see that right here we are plugged in, so I don't need to worry about battery. And now when the doorbell is pressed, we hear this. So what are the actual features? Well, let me show you. All the following will work whether you're wired or on battery. When a person comes to the door, the doorbell illuminates, and when it is pressed, it will then send out notifications. Here on my phone, I receive a notification that says someone is at the door. Here I have a rich GIF notification of who is at the door, and then if I tap on it, it opens a live feed of who is at the door. Sometimes it does take a second or two to load up. Here I have the option to use a quick response, or I can talk to them right from the phone.
Alright, this is me talking from just a couple inches away from my phone. This is me talking about a foot away from my phone. And this is me talking about 18 inches away from my phone.
Oh, hey, good morning. And this is how it sounds from the person that is talking at the door onto my phone. Because I have visitor announcements on, then my speakers will be notified.
Someone's at the front porch doorbell.
As well as my Nest hubs.
Someone's at the front porch doorbell.
Here I can talk, ignore, or use preset responses.
Hey, what's up? Sorry, I can't come to the door right now. Yeah, just leave it there. That's great. Okay, thanks so much.
Hi there. You can just leave it. Thanks. Just a sec. We'll be right there. Hi there. No one can answer the door right now. We'll be notified you stopped by.
Selecting ignore will hide the doorbell notification, or it will go away after about 40 seconds. If you have person detection enabled, you'll receive notifications like this.
Brett is at the front porch doorbell. Brett and Adele are at the front porch doorbell.
On your Nest display, you can also view the live feed by going into the camera or asking to view the doorbell.
Sure, streaming the front porch doorbell.
And now we can just view the camera feed. If we do want to talk through it, we can tap the talk button and have a conversation with whoever we see.
So now let's look at more of the settings you get on the Google Nest Doorbell. So in the Google Home app, there's actually two ways in which you can get to it. One is you can simply tap on cameras and you can find the doorbell right there. The other option is you can go into the room in which you have the doorbell in. So here we have the front porch, and there I have the doorbell, and I can tap on it there. So here it's showing us the doorbell. It's showing us it's idle, meaning I'm not viewing it right now. And then here it shows it has 68% battery life. And then here on the main screen, it's showing how much battery life you do have left. It's saying that I currently only have 1 week left. And then if you swipe over, it shows the percentage there. Now this all depends on how much you've actually been using it. I've been using this for about a week, and I do have some of the settings turned up, so I'm getting more notifications than typical, but you could turn it down where it's gonna last a lot longer than that. So then down here, you have the option to view the live video. So if I tap on that, I'm now going to see my live video feed from the Nest Doorbell. There you can see the full feed, and then it also pops up the option where I can talk through it with the mic right here, and now we can talk and have a conversation from the other end to this end, and if I tap, that will turn off the mic. And then over here, we have the option to view our history. So we can tap on there, and down here you can see a timeline, and you'll see a little blue indicator anytime it had an event that happened. So all these other times, because it's not recording all the history, it's only recording events, you will see the little events pop up, and we can then go and view those different events right here. So now for the events, we do have the option to replay that event right there, so we can see a car went by. But if we want to view any more details, all we have to do is tap event details. Here it's showing us the time and the date of the event. Here we have what it saw, so it saw a moving vehicle. And then scrolling down, you can see if it was in a specific zone and the duration of the clip. Up here at the top, you do have the option to download that clip. So I can just select download, and now that's saved onto my phone storage so that I can view it at any time. And it showed zone 1 and outside of zone 1. And then we have the option to download there as well. So that is how you view your history and all the different events that you have seen. And then if I do want to select a different day, I can tap the calendar right here and I can choose a specific day. And then if I want to filter this down more, I can filter multiple cameras, and I can filter maybe just certain things it saw, a package, a person, or whatever. And then here you can also filter down to what it heard. So it's really cool that you can filter down to see exactly what you want. But this is a really nice view in being able to see all the different events that happen for the day. So let's say there was a fun event the other day. So there you can select a few days. I can hit OK. And then here you can see all those different events that were happening during that time period, which is pretty cool. And then up here you have the options to turn off the filters that you have set. So let's go ahead and go back. So here we have the history that we talked about. Then we have the live. And then over here we have more. So first up, you have the option to turn on and off the camera. Let's say you just don't want the camera to be recording right now or recording events. You can then simply turn off the camera by tapping right there. Well, the next thing you can do is you can also set quiet time. So let's say you don't want the camera to alert you at all for the next few hours. Maybe you have a bunch of friends coming over for an event and you don't want it just to keep going off. You can select quiet time, and then what this is going to do is it's going to mute so that whenever somebody comes through the door and it pushes the button, you will not hear those announcements inside. And I like how you can just quickly set, an hour up to 3 hours so that it only lasts for that long. And then after 3 hours, you will then be notified whenever somebody comes and presses the doorbell.
And then next you have the same quick responses that we saw on the Nest Hub.
And then again, because I have a Nest Aware subscription, I do get this emergency option right here. So if I saw somebody stealing something or something happened and I wanted to call emergency services, I do have the option to do this right there without me having to leave and go to the phone app or anything. I can do this all from there. And then here are some safety tips when dealing with an intruder and what you should share with the police, and so on. So it's great that those are all right there under the More option. So now let's talk about other settings that you have for the Nest Doorbell. So if we tap on the settings here, it's going to show more information that we have. So first you can see the device info, everything right there. We already set that up. So next we have notifications. So now we can control what we're going to be notified for. So push notifications means that whenever somebody comes to the door, you'll be able to see a notification of that. So right here under the home, I have these different notifications. So it found a person with a package. It was me holding my camera. So I received the push notifications of that.
You'll also receive notifications about critical updates and the battery status and when you do need to charge the battery.
Here you have away only notifications. So that means if you're away from home, you're going to receive those notifications. And then you can adjust based on events and zones on what's going to notify you. And so here you can see my zone 1, it's right there on the porch. So here I'm going to be notified of people and packages that enter that zone and not animals or vehicles, and all motion is not going to be notifying me. So if you wanted those, you could simply turn those on, but I don't need that. So we're gonna go back, and then we have outside of the zone. So you can set specific notifications for anything happening away from that zone. So again, I do have people and packages set, and here I can choose to have events of animals and vehicles, but it's not going to notify me of those events. And then down here, I have the option for all motion if I wanted to be notified of all that different motion. So I like how you can really customize what you're going to be notified for different events. So next let's go to battery. So here you can see that I currently have 1 week left of battery. And if I swipe over again, see the percent. So first option here is automatic battery saver. So what you can do is you can turn this on, and then when the battery is less than 7 days, it's going to extend the battery as much as it can, reducing some of the events and certain things that you'll see, but your battery is going to last a lot longer. Next, we have battery usage. So here is where you can really customize what the battery is going to prioritize. So maybe you want a lot more recording, you are able to do that. If you want to do default, you can balance between the events and the recordings. You have the option here. Or maybe you want to extend battery life, you can choose the more battery life option, and this will give you high quality video but shorter events and longer time between events. And then here I have the option to choose custom, where your battery life will be determined by the video quality settings that you've set. So I've been playing with the different ones here. I did do more recording, and that really took down the battery life. So you would want to come in here and maybe choose something like more battery life to really extend that battery life that you could get. And so those are your settings for battery life. Now, if you do have it wired, you wouldn't have to worry about the battery life. You could have the settings record as much as you want because you would be wired into the power. Next, you have events. So here you can control what events are going to be recorded under different zones. So by default, you do get the option to use zones and everything without paying for a Nest Aware subscription, which is really cool. So this is where I set that up. And then there I have my outside zones. And then I also have the option to do familiar face detection when I do have the Nest Aware. So under that, here is where you can really customize what this does. So it's learning about every person that comes to your door. So you can come in here and you can add a name. So here it saw me, so I can just add my name, and I'm already in here. So then I'm going to say, yes, this is the same person. And so now when I come to the door, it will notify you that Brett is at the door. And then here it's showing some new faces. So then I can come in and go through and teach who these different faces are. So here, Grandpa came to the door. So we can put Grandpa, save, and now we'll be notified of who is at the door. So that's how you can adjust your familiar faces. And you'll see the same settings under here that you saw under the notification settings. Next, we have the doorbell. So under the doorbell, this is where you get the option to choose to receive those visitor announcements on your Google speakers. So if your Google speakers are connected to your account, you come in here and turn that on. Whenever somebody presses the doorbell, you'll hear this.
Someone's at the front porch doorbell.
And if you do have the familiar faces on and it knows who is at the door, you'll hear this.
Brett is at the front porch doorbell.
Now, if you are using an indoor chime, you do have the option to turn that on and off here. I'm right now connected only battery, so I don't have that. And then here, it's also giving us the option where if we do have the electronic chime, we can adjust how long that tone would push. Now, the thing with the visitor announcements is it's going to notify every Google Assistant speaker that you have in your house. Now, there may be some speakers that you don't want it to alert you on. Let me show you how you can adjust that. So let's go ahead and go back to our main screen here. And we're gonna go into the nursery. All right, so here we have the nursery speaker right here. Now, right now, baby's taking a nap, and so we wouldn't want it to notify that somebody's at the door in his room. So we're gonna go to the settings of this specific speaker, and then here we have notifications and well-being. And right here, we have the option to turn on notifications. So if we wanted it to be notified in his room, turn that on. If not, we would wanna turn that off. And then we also have the option for do not disturb mode. So do not disturb makes it so no notifications are going to come onto this speaker. So I do have do not disturb on as well. Now there is one other option called night mode. So with night mode, you can actually turn it on so speakers wouldn't be notified at night. So if you turn this on, you can set a specific time where it's going to turn on the do not disturb. So in the middle of the night, it's not going to ring in your bedroom or whatever. So it all depends on what speakers you want to have notified. So maybe most of your speakers, you want to have night mode on, then you won't be notified. But for like the baby's room here, make sure the do not disturb is on. But for all the other speakers, I keep do not disturb off so that they can receive notifications for the Nest Doorbell. So now let's go under the video. Here we have a few different options. So here you can see I have the 60-day video event history. So I do have the option to just come in here and say, I don't want this to record any video history. So you can choose to do that. Next, I have the wake up sensitivity. So right now it's set at medium sensitivity. I could set that to high to increase how sensitive it is, or I could change that to low if I don't want it to be as sensitive. And then next here, I have the maximum event length. So you can have this be for 3 minutes down to 10 seconds. So of course, the longer the event lengths are, the shorter your battery life is going to be. So 15 seconds seems to be a pretty good amount of data that you will receive per event. Next, we have the option for video quality. So you can set this to high or to maximum. Maximum, I put it on there and I saw a pretty big decrease in battery quickly. So we're gonna keep it high for now. Next, we have night vision. So you can have the night vision where it's set to always on. Then here you can have it set to auto. So it's automatically gonna turn on in the evening. And then here you can keep the night vision off. That's only useful if you have a light near the Nest Doorbell. So here is what this would look like without night vision on. And now here is what it looks like with night vision. And then last, under the video settings, we have the status light brightness. So you can set this under high, you can have it at auto or low. So this just helps people know that you are viewing the camera or not. So you'll see the green light indicating that it's currently recording. And then when it's pulsing, that's showing that somebody is viewing the footage. And then last here, we have the audio options. So the first option here is the microphone. So when you have that on, that means you will be able to hear people at the door. Next, you have audio recording. So when this is off, you can still listen live, but you won't be able to hear anything in the video history. So I like to have that on so I have a history of the audio. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
It's interesting, I could hear myself.
You can hear yourself, you said?
Now, even though the recording from the phone end is very faint, it is there.
And then here I can set the camera volume. So choose how loud your voice will be when you use talk and listen. So from my end, when I'm talking through my phone, how loud is it going to be on their end? So you can adjust this all the way to high, but right now 4 seems to work pretty well. So those are the different audio settings you get on the Nest Doorbell. And then you have the option to delete your video history, or you can completely remove the device.
So, what happens if I'm stolen, huh? What happens to me? Are you sure you want to know? Yeah, tell me. All right, here we go. So in the event that you find that somebody has come and used a key to remove your Nest Doorbell, the video will instantly stop recording. And your doorbell is gone forever. The good news is Google will replace your doorbell if you are in a qualified country. You will need to file a police report and follow the instructions on the Google website. Great, that's wonderful.
So it's now almost been a week since I started using the new Nest Doorbell, and overall I'm very impressed with what it can do. One of the things that's really cool that you can't see about this device is the new internal processing. So as soon as it sees something, it is able to recognize what it is on the device and then notify me of that instantly on my phone. And I think that has some great improvements from the previous version of the Nest Hello Doorbell. Now overall, I really like everything that this can do. My main complaint about this is that it doesn't have the option to do the 10-day video history, which is something that I just really loved from the Nest Hello Doorbell. Now, that being said, of course, this does have the battery life, which is really great. It's so nice that you can pretty much place this anywhere you want, and instantly you now have a smart doorbell. And if you have any Google speakers in your home, those can act as the announcements and everything. So I think all of that is wonderful. But the one thing that I am disappointed in is that feature. Now I know there's some limitations because of the new tech that they've added in here with the battery and everything, but over time I'd really like to see that added back in where I can have the 10-day video history on here, just to make sure that I do capture every single thing that is happening over here on the porch.
Another feature that I think is missing is when you are viewing the camera, it does not record that as an event. That's something the Ring cameras do that I think is really cool. It would be nice to see that be added.
Now that being said, I have received all kinds of different event notifications for people walking by and animals coming by and so on. So I think there's going to be no problem with the amount of notifications you're getting, and you'll be able to not miss anything that is happening on your porch. It's just nice to have that as a backup. Now before we talk about using the Google Home app versus the Nest app, a few things that I want to talk about I really like on this are the speakers and the microphone. I think it's so much easier to be able to understand me while I'm talking on the other end, so it's great to see an improvement there. And I also just really like the new ratio of camera. Even though the previous one was pretty wide and it worked great on my doorbell, I think this style is going to be a lot easier for people to see what's happening on their porch, having the 4:3 aspect ratio. Now I know most people's concern is going to be the battery life, and this is something that I'm not really sure on how it's going to perform. After just using this for a few days, it was already showing me in the app that it only had 1 week of battery left, which if you're having to charge this every week or so, that's not going to be great. But I didn't even have the chance to kind of play with some of the settings where I'm only getting so many events and so on. I just kind of set it to default, and after a week it went from 100% down to about 75%. So if you are wanting to have longer battery life, you're going to have to reduce the amount of event notifications that you're going to be receiving. But for me, I actually just want to have it plugged in most of the time, so I think that's great. I just plugged it in and now it's charging it up, and if I lose power or whatever, it will be able to record any of those event notifications, which is really cool. You actually have 1 hour of events it can record. If the internet goes out, it can store that in its internal memory, and then once the Wi-Fi comes back on, it would be able to upload all of that, which is really cool. So lastly, let's talk about Google Home versus the Nest app. So using the Google Home app, it's great to see pretty much everything is there. Being able to scroll on the bottom and see the different events happen is really great. I think I might just be a little more of a
fan of the Nest app, how I can scroll up and down and I see the full history there. Now, going to the new Google Home platform, there are a few things that are being lost that were on the Nest app, which is the ability to view your camera from your computer from the Nest website, which is really cool. And then they also had the option to create time lapses and create different clips from the Nest web interface, which I thought that was really cool. Now, I do like how easy it is to simply download any of the events that you see here on the Nest Doorbell, but it would be nice if I had some way to create those time lapses and stuff. And of course, that's not as important here because we don't have the 10-day video history.
I just got an alert on my phone. It said like there was a really good dad at the door. And I was like, oh dang, that's what I need. Okay, bye.
You're welcome, bye. So what do you think of the new doorbell, buddy? Amazing. Speechless.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
So there you go. That is pretty much everything you can do right now with the Google Nest Doorbell. Really excited to have this new battery edition and to have everything now within the Google Home app. If you do have any further questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you would like to see my original Nest Hello video, you can check that out right here. And to check out the other new Nest cameras, I'll leave them right here in a playlist. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.